I'm making one of my all-time favorite recipes, corn fritters with fresh sweet corn and a fryer. It's gonna be amazing. It's time to get started on this awesomeness. So I have sweet corn here. I have 4 ears. These are early season, so they're a little small. What you need is about a pound of corn. So let's see what we got. So I like to get the corn off the cob with a paring knife and a bowl. And all you do is just kind of lean that there and then go down the corn, just like this, close as you can to the cob. Hopefully it won't slide around too much. And as you can see, it kind of flies everywhere. So the bowl helps contain it. There are other people that have every trick in the book to do this. I find this just to be the easiest and the best. No microwaves, no towels, no anything else involved. And then just hold it, go down, get as many of those corn cobs, get as many of those corn kernels off as you can. And then what you're gonna do is take the back of the knife and scrape. Now this gets out all that nice little bit of kernels and some of the creamy milk that's inside the corn. And it just adds an extra level of flavor to this. So y'all know I grew up in Iowa, and of course that is the land of the best sweet corn that you will ever eat in your entire life. I don't care where you're from, that is the best. And my mom occasionally would make these. Most of the time when we had fresh corn, we ate it just boiled with butter on the cob. But this is a recipe that I found several years ago and adapted it to a gluten-free recipe, which is amazing. And it's still one of my favorites. I love doing this, it's so delicious. So all the corn is off the cob, and what I've done here is separated it into 2 separate bowls for 2 separate purposes, but they're all gonna be fritters. Oh, and by the way, isn't that cute? It's a unicorn. Ah, a unicorn spatula. I love it. We're gonna set this aside and get our other ingredients together. So this is just a plain old hard yellow onion, and we need about 1/4 cup, which it should work right there. And you want it diced. Let me see if I can get that better. There we go. Remember, when you're cutting these, you want all of your little ingredients about the same size as a kernel of corn. Okay, so we're gonna put the onions in the big bowl. So that is in there, and now we are gonna do one of my most favorite things in the whole world to do. You need 2 paper towels for this. The first thing I'm gonna do is take this. This is an Anaheim pepper. If you happen to live somewhere where you can get hatch peppers during hatch season, I highly recommend it. The Anaheim is just a very similar pepper to that. Just very little bit of heat, just enough to kind of go, that's got a little spice to it. And all I do is I split it with a good knife like that, and then you open it up. And what I like to do is kind of lay this on the paper towel. This is so cool, you're gonna love this. And you want to pull out the ribs if you can. And you don't want seeds in this, so I'm going to show you my little trick on this. It's kind of cool. Oh. All right, so here's what you do, is you just take a paper towel and you wipe the seeds out of the pepper. And that's that. And then the paper towel catches them. And that's it. You're gonna need probably 1, maybe 2 peppers for this. You can also use bell pepper. Whatever your preference is just fine. And you want fairly small pieces of this. Some people like roasted jalapenos or serranos. I'm actually a big fan of serranos, but I wanted to keep this mild because, you know, it's about the corn. Give them a quick turn. So here is the other bowl with my cute unicorn. It's adorable. I actually bought that for the times when my granddaughter's here and we're baking cookies so she can use the unicorn. So first up, we are going to put in 3/4 of a cup of gluten-free flour. I highly recommend some. You can go to the website and find these. I have 2 that I use. It has to include xanthan gum because you want some texture. So, and I'm just using a 1/4 cup measure, so I'm doing this 3 times because I don't like washing dishes. So we are going to put in 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Where is that 1 teaspoon? This will just give it some lift, some puffiness, and it doesn't take a lot. And then we are going to put in some cayenne pepper, about 1/2 teaspoon. And I will actually measure it because, you know, just to show you good examples, I usually don't. 1/2 teaspoon. We are going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, good enough. And about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. All right, I'm just gonna stir this around. Here we go. Just to blend everything together. You're going to crack in an egg, and I didn't do this very well. I gotta make sure I don't get any shells in there. Nope, the egg yolk broke. And then we are going to put in, always shake your buttermilk, a cup of buttermilk. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it because the last time I made this, I needed a cup. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. Keep in mind if you need more later on, you can always add a little bit more. So here's our power tool for today, the immersion blender. It's one of my favorites. I use it all the darn time. So you're just gonna take that, stick it in there, and start whizzing it around. So you're making a corn puree. And now for my next trip, we are going to simply pour this lovely corn batter in with the whole kernel corn, onions, and peppers. And you'll notice that this batter just looks beautiful and thick. It kind of looks like a thick pancake batter. All right, this looks really good. Now, one of the things I like to do with this is set it aside for about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna go set up my fry station, maybe get a glass of wine, Sauvignon Blanc tonight, and go from there. I'll be back. So I have my fry station set up here. I have my pot of oil heating up very nicely. I have my batter, which is absolutely looking beautiful and delicious. I have my landing pad, which is a baking sheet pan with a cooling rack that is inverted, so it's upside down, and some paper towels underneath it. And we're just gonna let all of this oil heat up, and we're gonna get going, and don't forget your scoop. This will save your life. So our temperature is up to 331 degrees. We are almost ready to cook. Make sure you have everything in place. You've got your oil, you've got your batter, you've got your landing pad, and I have some kosher salt because I like to hit these puppies with some kosher salt when I get done. So we're about ready to go. We are ready to go. I have my temperature set, and it's awesome. It's ready to go. All right, first one's going in. Always the test. You just get a scoop and then drop it in. Now these should, technically speaking, float to the top when they are done, or when they release. Okay, we've got one that's floated. That looks good. And I only like to do about 4 or 5 at a time. Whew. That's the other thing. Stand back because it's gonna splash. Look how beautiful and creamy that is. I ever tell you this is one of my all-time favorite recipes? I got 32 corn oysters. Well, 33, but I ate one, so 32. This is one of my all-time favorite recipes. Corn oysters, corn fritters, whatever you would like to call them. They're delicious. They have this creamy interior with this crunchy exterior and crunchy corn, a little bit of heat from the peppers and the cayenne and all of that. It's absolutely amazing. To reheat, you can just reheat them in an air fryer or in your oven at about 350 degrees for 5 to 10 minutes. These are great for parties. These are great for any time. I don't care. I just eat them all the time, whenever I can. So I'm Lou, and this is Evolutionary Eats. Go to evolutionaryeats.com, or you can go to my new website, luannmcclintock.com, for even more fun than Evolutionary Eats. You can find me on Instagram at Evolutionary Eats. You can find me on Facebook at Evolutionary Eats, and occasionally on Twitter, Evol Eats Lou, although I just kind of check the weather and, the power's going to go out, something like that. Again, I'm Lou, and this is Evolutionary Eats. And this is one of my all-time favorite recipes, corn oysters. Ooh, this is hot, hot, hot.